Well, it's time to talk about Narropera again. Haydn is with us. Is it every year? I mean, you come and see us. It's amazing how many times we've been chatting about your events, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And again,
it is an annual event.
Yes.
Yes.
The Marriage of Figaro this time. But I think we should always start with explaining exactly what your version of this is and how it comes about, and what people can expect.
Yes. In a nutshell, someone who comes to a Narropera performance should, after the performance, be much more knowledgeable about the opera in question, in this case, The Marriage of Figaro, and to have enjoyed, they will have enjoyed the music in the context of understanding in detail the story. That actually gives the music another dimension and brings us close to how such a masterpiece would have been appreciated in the late 18th century, because a piece like The Marriage of Figaro was written for an educated, aristocratic, elite audience who would all have spoken Italian. And they would have spoken, of course, 18th century Italian, being that they were living in the 18th century, so that the actual story would have been enormously well understood in the performance. Mm-hmm. That, of course, for modern audiences is a thing of the past. And Narropera tries to do the best it can to bridge this gap between the type of understanding, three-dimensional understanding of these works in the 18th century and the very much more difficult question of understanding in the 20th century or the 21st century.
And you've cornered the market in this. You've been doing it now for many years.
Yes, this is our 7th year. Wow. We've already performed 85 performances of Narropera. The one in Peel in June, on the 15th of June, will be, in fact, the 86th performance, which is a huge number when you consider that the Narroperas all have to be created, and it's a huge amount of work to create a Narropera, months of work.
You've sent us some pictures. Where's this from? Because I know you've actually done this in New Zealand already, haven't you? So you've tried it out, this one.
We've tried this one out. It's had already 3 performances, so we know that it works.
So I think last year was your first time of doing it, was it?
Yes, the last June, when we did our Don Giovanni in Peel, in the Peel Centenary Centre. It was, in fact, the very first performance of the new Don Giovanni, and in the meantime, that performance that was pioneered, as it were, in Peel, was then taken on a series of performances throughout Europe and then back to New Zealand. Yeah. And by the time we got to New Zealand, it was, I think probably the 15th performance of it is something like that. And we then added the new Narropera, which was, of course, this current Marriage of Figaro. Now, the Peel performance will be the first European performance of this new Marriage of Figaro, and in the coming months we have a series of performances in England and in Germany of this as well. And
once again, people shouldn't be put off because opera is being elitist and that sort of thing. This is how you're doing it. You're bringing it to people who don't necessarily know the story, and they can really understand what you're doing, and you get a condensed version, right?
Yes, I mean, Narropera is, on the one hand, slightly educational, slightly enlightening, but fundamentally entertaining. It is, and the common denominator with Narropera as a form, as a vehicle for expression, is probably somewhere between the period drama on television, like Downton Opera,
Downton Abbey.
Downton Opera.
That's quite good. I love that.
That's very good. Yes, well, so Downton Abbey with music.
Maybe one day you'll do that.
Or yes, exactly. Or maybe the musicals, which are very much similar in structure. But Marriage of Figaro, in particular, is really a period piece, like a period drama. There are overtones of Downton Abbey and Upstairs, Downstairs, and things like that.
I should point out, for those who haven't seen it, just the 3 of you in it, right? 3 involved.
Yes, I mean, we play as a trio. we have a singer, Dorothy Janssen, the German opera soprano, and she in fact does arias of various characters. She does 4 different characters, arias, including Figaro himself. So those arias, the male arias, are transposed up for her soprano voice, and of course then the violin parts and the piano parts have to be rearranged, not just transposed, but literally arranged for a trio. And then we have this lovely French violinist, Florian Pesselon, who is the same age as Dorothy, is a similar sort of instinctive musician. They work extremely well off one another. And Florian on the violin is often playing the counterpoint from the violin part against the soprano or against whichever voice she's singing. But also, if we're doing a duet, if we've arranged a duet or a trio, she will be at times playing the other voices.
Right.
So it's a mixed form.
And you sing as well?
No, I don't sing.
You don't sing at all?
I narrate.
You just narrate? I thought you sang.
And I play the piano.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm the fundamental base of the musical trio, in as much as I provide the harmony, the rhythm, the structure, as an old 18th century basso continuo would have done. The composers always sat at the harpsichord and did my role. And then that gives the foundation to the sound, just like in a jazz orchestra. The double bass and the drums, they're the fundamental rhythm and bass harmony of any of those groups. And they're essential. Those are taken for granted, but they really shouldn't be taken for granted, because they are the foundation of the whole sound. And then the soloists then are free, and they then interact with one another, and that's what the audience gets.
Lovely. Well, the Marriage Figaro, this is on with the Arts Council Corporation and the Centenary Centre, Saturday the 15th of June.
Yes, we are very lucky, because the performance is in association with Hospice, Isle of Man. It's in association this time with the Queen Elizabeth II School. It's supported by the Arts Council, and it's under the patronage of the Lieutenant Governor and his wife, Sir Richard and Lady Gosney, and they will be at the performance. And we are honoured, the Narropera trio, because the Isle of Man does us proud. They really support us through these 4 institutions, and it makes us feel very much at home on the Isle.
Fantastic. Just to finish, where do people get tickets?
There are various outlets. They can get them online. The booking reference, of course, just type in Peel Centenary Centre and what's on and how to book, and you see it all there. And otherwise in Castletown at Quibrey, and Peel at Celtic Gold, in Port Erin at Thompson's Travel.
You're right, go online, look at it.
Yes, exactly. And the normal outlets.
Yes.
I think the audience here knows this.
As always, great to see you.
Oh,
really lovely,
you, Paul.
And we carry on each year. It's amazing. It's like, it's one of our things each year. We talk to you, looking very dapper again.
Yes, it's a sort of soap opera.
Downton Abbey. Sort of.
This is episode 5.